everyone. My name's Ewan Webster. I'm the president and CEO of Thesis Gold. We're a relatively new exploration company focused in north central British Columbia on our 100% owned Ranch Gold project. So last year was our maiden drill program, very successful. We had kind of three key objectives for that drill program. The project itself, it saw quite a lot of work in the 1970s and 80s and then effectively sat dormant for the next kind of 20 years. The team behind it really didn't have the technical expertise or the access to capital markets to really kind of drive it forward to the multi-million ounce potential that we think it has. So part of the objective for that first season was, confirming the high-grade historical drill results on the project so that we could use them in a future resource. You can see there from the select drill results and the highlights there, the top one, 34 meters at just under 20 grams gold from the Bonanza zone, certainly did that. Second objective was really to try and expand on the known zones of gold mineralization. And the second result that you can see there, 27 meters at just under 9 grams gold equivalent, that is expanding the ridge zone at depth. And then the third objective was really drilling for discovery, looking for new zones of mineralization. And we made 3 fantastic discoveries last year. The Thesis 3 zone, 28 meters to 6 grams. So again, very high grade mineralization right at surface. That was with a 16,000 meter drill program. Now, on the back of that very successful drill program, we raised an additional $24 million earlier this year in January, with Eric Sprott coming in as a key cornerstone investor on that financing. And that is really allowing us this year to embark on a much larger drill program, 50,000 meters that we're hoping to achieve. And that's going to be doing 2 things for us, following up on the fantastic drill results from last year, those new discoveries, and again, testing a whole range of new epithermal and porphyry targets. And the first phase of that program has actually been completed already. Early this spring, we got out, completed about 5,000 meters of drilling, and just yesterday we put out the first 4 results from that. We made another new discovery, 27 meters at 3 grams at the Thesis 2 zone actually. And there will be more news results to follow in the coming weeks for that drill program. And then the second phase of the program for this year is going to embark in late June, early July, where we'll complete an additional 45,000 meters this year. In terms of our corporate structure, we have about $35 million in the treasury at the moment, so we're incredibly well financed. Of the 12 million warrants we have outstanding, they all expire in October of this year. They're about 75 cents. We're currently trading at the kind of $2 to $2.20 range, so well in the money, and that could generate another $7 to $8 million into the treasury. With this year's program costing about $22 to $23 million, we're certainly going to have a very healthy treasury still going into 2023. With that in mind, we still have a very tight share structure with only 56 million shares outstanding. So very well financed, incredibly tight share structure. And if you look at the shareholder base as well, a lot of strong institutional support, which is pretty unique for a junior exploration company at this point. Some large funds, Merck, Franklin Templeton, Middlefield, Delbrook, and as I mentioned, Eric Sprott coming in on that last financing as well. So a lot of major players validating this project. In terms of infrastructure, Sean was talking about the Golden Triangle. We're a little bit to the east of that, about 200 kilometers to the east. Excellent infrastructure in the area from that work in the 1970s and 80s. From Prince George, you can effectively drive to the project. It's about 450 kilometers. There's a power line tie-in about 60 kilometers to the southeast of us at Centerra Gold's Kemess copper-gold porphyry system. I was also the senior geologist with Benchmark Metals that helped take that project from 80,000 ounces through to 3+ million ounces. So we have a proven track record of success in this area. We know how to explore, and we're applying the same methodology as we rapidly advance the Ranch project, where we think there is just as much potential. Our land position is 180 square kilometers, you can see there, and really I put this up to kind of emphasize that all of the historical work is really focused on kind of 20 square kilometers right at the heart of the project, and that remaining 90% of the land package is seen very little, if any, exploration work, let alone any sort of modern systematic work. So in addition to that pretty extensive drill program we had last year for our maiden program, We also completed a property-wide exploration program that consisted of ground and airborne geophysics, 7,000 soil samples, 700 rock samples, and the mindset behind that was really to generate new targets, and that was exceptionally successful. We have now new multi-kilometre scale targets that share all of the same characteristics as the known high-grade gold zones that we have on surface. Very compelling, and they will be tested as part of this year's 50,000 metre drill program as well. And they're not only epithermal targets, but they're also porphyry potential there as well. So this map is really just recapping some of the successes for last year's program and where we really focused. In the top right-hand corner there, you can see the ridge zone, expansionary drilling, 27 metres and 9 grams gold equivalent. That fantastic result at Bonanza, kind of in the centre. And then more importantly, the three areas in the south, the left-hand side of the screen there, Thesis 2, Thesis 3 and the JK zone where we made new discoveries. And you can see they're kind of broadly situated within that Thesis structural corridor, and the background map here is ground magnetics, and that blue linear feature there is this main fault system that, and it's these large faults that really acted as the conduits to the hydrothermal system and the gold-bearing fluids that have developed those fantastic deposits that we have there. But part of the spring program was really following up on those discoveries of last year. If we look at one of them first, the Thesis 3 zone in the top right, on the left-hand side of that structural corridor. The cross-section on the left-hand side here, just simple cross-section showing that we were effectively targeting the high-grade mineralization right on surface that they identified historically. But the geologists on site, as we were drilling this hole, recognized that, hey, we were still in a very strong alteration system once they got through that gold zone. They let the drill keep turning, and then about 100 meters away, we discovered this new zone at about 150 meters depth, 28 meters at 6 grams. What that says to me is that, not only is there very high-grade mineralization at surface that we know about, but only 100 meters away, never discovered with any of the historical drilling, are these fantastic zones of mineralization that need significant drilling. So we followed up on that this year as part of the spring program, and we will be again in the summer. And then the Thesis 2 zone, just to the south of that I was mentioning, where we made a new discovery and put those results out yesterday, very similar story, where we intersected another parallel zone. So there's 3 zones there now. So excellent discovery potential, even in and around where the known mineralization exists. Now, the broader targets that we started to develop out of our systematic exploration program last year, there's 2 very compelling ones that I want to point out here. The Albert's Hump area on the left-hand side and the Paddy and Steve zone in the south. Now, the Albert's Hump area is a multi-kilometre long alteration system, soil geochem anomaly with all the kind of classic Pathfinder elements for porphyry and epithermal mineralization, coincident linear ground magnetic anomalies, and IP geophysics. That is exactly what we see at the known gold zones of mineralization. This target has never been drill tested and will be as part of this year's summer program. So excellent discovery potential. The Paddy and Steve zone, all the same characteristics. The unique thing about Paddy and Steve, though, is there is also there's a very good porphyry target at about 300 meters vertical depth that appears to be kind of possibly the source of all of this high-grade epithermal system that we see on surface. So that is the kind of blue sky potential beyond just the high-grade gold footprint. Then in terms of ESG, we've been very proactive on this front. We have 4 local First Nations in the area. We had agreements signed and in place before we even embarked on our drill program last year. And we actually used 2 of the environmental wings of those local nations, Saskatchewan and Chucho Environmental, to do all of our baseline environmental and wildlife monitoring. So, as the project grows and becomes more successful, then the nations can benefit from that as well. So working hand in hand from day one with the local nations. Then the Thesis team, I'll just quickly cover this as we're running out of time, but very strong technical team with a track record of success in this area and a very diverse board as well with a lot of unique skill sets, bringing decades of experience to the Thesis team. Then really in terms of the near-term catalyst for this year, as I mentioned, we just wrapped up that 2022 program, spring drill program. First results were out yesterday, made a new discovery. Future results are going to be coming out from those zones as well in the coming weeks. That is part of a much larger 50,000 metre program we're doing this year that is not only trying to expand on the gold mineralization that we have, but we're also drilling for discovery, both epithermal and porphyry targets that are very compelling and share all of the same characteristics as those known zones of gold mineralization. And really what that translates to for a shareholder standpoint is very strong news flow through all of 2022. The results from the spring program are going to continue on for the next couple of months. By that point, we'll be back in the field drilling again and will be to basically late fall this year. So strong news flow every 7 to 10 days with drill results throughout 2022.